Hello, and welcome to the Kickstart Your Confidence 21-Day Global Summit. We would like to welcome you and let you know that we will begin shortly. We are live from Victoria, BC, Canada. Let us know where you're attending from in the comments. We also wanted to share our content note with you and remind folks that the information that is provided herein is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This information is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease, but to inform you, the participant, of alternative methods for healing. In all health-related situations, qualified healthcare professionals should always be consulted. Some of our experts are doctors, naturopaths, and other medical professionals. However, you are encouraged to consult your own healthcare professional. In other words, no doctor-patient relationship is informed or suggested at any time during the series. Please also keep in mind that the host finds a lot of information from credible third parties and shares it here in this online forum when it is relevant. By participating in this online event, you acknowledge and agree that the third-party content is not created by the host and is shared with you, the participant, for educational, entertainment, and informational purposes only. And in no way do they guarantee a pledge or endorsement by the host for you, the participant, to take action on what the third party suggests or recommend on their sites or in their interviews. Please understand that this event provides general information only and is never a substitute for professional and medical advice. Most importantly, please consult your healthcare provider if you suspect a serious health concern. Always seek the advice of your mental health professional or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding your condition. Your health is your wealth. Don't delay in taking the proper steps in saving your life. By the same token, we are also not providing any financial advice during this series. A summit, online forum, workshop, event is meant to inform. Taking action for your own health, finances, and life is meant to create change. Never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard or read that was shared during the online summit. Our platform provides an open and safer space for the critical and civil exchange of ideas that aren't often talked about when it comes to menopause and aging. Some content in this series will include topics and themes that some viewers may find difficult. We will always do our best to give you a proper heads up to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally beforehand. Thank you so much and welcome and enjoy today's show. Hi, welcome to Kickstart Your Confidence. Learn useful secrets to have a happy menopause without breaking a sweat, losing sleep, or opportunity. My name is Tira Green, and today we are speaking with Sue Loncaric. And I just wanted to, before we get into our conversation, introduce her. I wanted to just tell you a little bit about her. So Sue is an over 50 lifestyle blogger. She's also a certified health and life coach. She is someone who also is a qualified personal trainer, and she is also able to do group fitness coaching, and she's just a wealth of information. And she's also the founder of Women Living Well After 50. And so hopefully she can help us just get a little bit of insight on how to have a fit, fabulous, happier, healthier lifestyle. So welcome, Sue.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted to be along here and to hopefully share some information that will help your listeners.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So let's just get started with, this thing around aging. There's a lot of myths around after even 40 now, but around 50, they say everything's over. That's it. Life is over. But what can you say to that?
Well, it's wrong. I mean, life is still getting better for me. And it wasn't until I was 50 that I really came of age in a positive way. I suppose I've never been someone to put a number on myself. My mental thinking is not the same age as my physical age, and sometimes I think there might be a mistake on my birth certificate, but I've never let age worry me, because if you start to focus on that, we all get older. There's no running away from that. But how you age, how your mindset is, how you look after your body, your mind, your spirit is so important, because that is the way you will age well. If you're worried about the number, you're not going to be enjoying your life. And so for me, I just don't concentrate on what the number is. I'm proud to say I'm 66, but really life just gets better, but it is up to you and your mindset as to how well you live your life.
That sounds so powerful. So, can you just bring us into when you kind of discovered that life wasn't over for you at 50?
Well, sure. I mean, I'm like many women. I've been married, well, a couple of times actually, and so I've been through divorce. I've got grown children. I'm a grandmother now, and I had a career. And so when I got to 50, I suppose I didn't really go through any sort of midlife crisis per se, but I had a whole new world open up to me because I was working with younger women. We were in a small office, and what I loved about it was they never saw me as an older person. They just treated me as if I was one of them. So I'm in, 50, and they've booked me into boot camp, and they've got me, oh, let's start running. Now, both of those things, I'd sort of tried to keep active most of my life, but you go through peaks and troughs, especially if you have a family and you're working. It's hard to fit things in for yourself. But at 50, I discovered running through these friends, and that really opened up a whole new world. I ran marathons at 55. I've run 3 marathons in my 60s. And it's not so much the point about running them. I mean, it's anything you can do. What it did for me was build my self-confidence. It showed me that I could do whatever I put my mind to. Because the day that the young girl phoned me and said, I've booked you into boot camp, I said, do you realize how old I am? And she said, oh, that doesn't matter, you can do it. And when I went, I couldn't even do a push-up. When I'd finished the 6 weeks, I was doing the same as what the younger ones was doing. So I'd proven to myself that, you can do anything that you put your mind to. As I said before, it comes back to mindset. So for me, getting into running was not just good for my health and well-being, it was good for my mental health, because going through menopause, you have your hormonal changes, you have your peaks and troughs, and I just found that that was a lifesaver for me. It gave me a focus. I could get out and run and just clear my mind. It gave me a purpose as I used to look towards the next fun run that I was going to do. And often my husband would say, if I was in a bit of a mood or whatever, do you think you should go for a run? Because he could see the benefits of that. So it was the movement and things that took me away from just sitting there and feeling sorry for myself of, I'm getting a bit older, or I'm not feeling that great, or I don't look that great, or, how we talk to ourselves in that negative way. So that's when it all changed for me.
And something that you mentioned was that your partner basically was like, I'm noticing something in you. Maybe you want to try go for a run. Can you speak a little bit to how you were able to either get him to understand you needed those things, or was he just aware of like menopause? Like, how did that come about?
Well, he's a little bit older than me, and to be honest, both of us hadn't, back in the day, I'm talking about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, menopause wasn't really talked about or discussed as it is today. And even today, it's probably not discussed as much as it should be. But I'm noticing a lot of women on social media who are really trying to change that. And I think that's a good thing, because the other thing is our partners don't understand. They're not experts in menopause. So, and we're always saying that, our partners don't understand us. I think what happened was I came home and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go running. I'm going to book in and run for a full marathon, which I sort of did at 55. And what I loved about him was he didn't say, why are you doing that? He just sort of was very supportive, because he could see that it was something that I needed. he was observing how I was, and he saw that after I'd gone for a run, I'd come back, I'd be happier, I'd be more relaxed. So he was learning about those behaviors that I was showing. And in fact, he was a great sort of support during training. He would make sure I'd have the right foods to eat. He would, support me. Yes, you've got to go on a long run. That's fine. So I think it was important that he sort of I sort of talked to him. I think that was the important thing, because if you don't tell someone how you're feeling, how are they meant to know?
Very good. Yeah, I really appreciate that because, we're not just doing menopause by ourselves, right? There's a whole species thing going on, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that's something that's really interesting too, is because he saw something in you because of the way you were showing up. So can you talk a little bit about future proofing yourself with the mind, body, and spirit connection and really taking care of those aspects?
Well, I'm doing this today and talking to you because I think it's very important that younger women really understand the importance of looking after themselves. And again, going back 15 years, the idea of self-care, or, even thinking about yourself, putting yourself first, was just unheard of. We're getting used to it now. We're sort of realizing that if we're not happy, we're not going to make those around us happy either. But to me, I think that the earlier you can start to look after your body, your mind, and your spirit, the better it's going to be. And it doesn't really matter because, like, the earlier you can start, the better, but it's never too late. For me, it was after 50. And now in my 60s, I'm doing things that I never thought I would do before. So life will always evolve, but if you can get those basics of your health and well-being right, it's going to help you, especially during that menopausal period of your life and perimenopause.
Hmm. So when you think about this theme of living well over 50, when it comes to, you talk about the mindset, for example, so it sounds like it's not all about your body,
Oh,
right?
definitely not. I mean, to me, living well is more than just having a healthy body. It's mind, how we develop our minds, how we keep learning, how we keep vital as a person. It's about having a spiritual, and I'm not talking religious here, I'm just saying that you need to turn inward sometimes and take that time for reflection. And then, yes, the physical side, eating well, making sure you move, and importantly, as you get older, which is something I didn't really get to till my late 50s, is to keep our bodies strong. So strength training, things like that, which is another topic. But it's living well is so much more than just your body and your physical health. There's so many things we can do in life, and to me, I want to be able to say at the end that I've had a life well lived, and that encompasses so many things.
That's lovely. Um, for like just to zone in, because you did mention strength training, right? And just
Mm.
are there any like practical tips for anyone, like that they can do around at home? Maybe they don't have access to a gym.
Gosh, yeah, yeah. Look, there's so many ways you can incorporate the exercise into your day, even when you're not thinking about it. Incidental exercise is a great way to start, because it's okay for me to be saying, oh, you should be doing this every day and that every day. But if you're have a full-time career, throw in if you have a family as well, throw in if you have a partner. It's not easy to find that time to be able to, and it's easy for me to say, well, you should be doing that. But there's a lot of things that, maybe prevent you from having that time on your own. But, like, for example, there's so many things on the internet that you can do, but really just the basics of your keeping your body moving, doing something that you enjoy. You don't, have to go running. You can just go for a walk because that will help clear your mind. At home, you can just do body weight exercises like squats and lunges, or push-ups off your kitchen bench, or if you've got stairs in your home, just walking up and down the stairs. Things that you can do daily. It doesn't have to be a long time to work out, because you just want to keep your fitness and health there. If you want to go into bodybuilding or take it further, that's fine. That needs a lot more commitment. But really, you need to be looking after your strength of body to help future-proof your body in the future. And we all talk about cardio, that's getting our heart, looking after our heart health, and getting our heart strong. But our muscles in our bodies start to decline from our 30s. We lose our muscle mass, and we need to be able to keep that muscle mass, because it will help to avoid or lessen the effects of osteoporosis. As we get older, our bones start to become brittle. And, I'm talking 20 years ahead, but if you start now, then as by the time you get to my age, you're going to be in a better position and be able to live your life and enjoy your family and your grandchildren, rather than having a body that's just not able to be mobile and have that mobility that you need.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I recently was like, I'm going to start doing one push up a day, just every day. And
Yep,
then,
yep,
as of last night, and then I added in squats. And then,
yep.
as of last night, I've gotten up to consistently 7 and 7. So I'm doing 7 push ups, 7 squats. And that's not a lot to some people, but for me, it's like, I'm progressing, right?
And it only starts with one. And that sort of my idea of, like, I'm a goal oriented person, so I like to set goals for myself, but it's no good having a huge goal and trying to do that on day one. You've got to use little steps. So you starting with one push up, well, that was one more than you did yesterday. And you'll do more tomorrow. It's about building that habit, but I think it's also about valuing yourself, valuing who you are as a person, and doing things to keep yourself healthy for the right reasons. It's not to look great. It's about health, and it's about really loving yourself enough, respecting yourself enough to want to do those sort of things to have a healthier lifestyle.
Yes, that's so true. Yeah, because for me, it's like I want to make sure that I can like get down, stand up, like I just like the little
Yeah.
things, right?
Well, exactly, and I keep harking back to myself, but, just as an example, at 65, I have two grandsons, and one is 8.5 and one is 4.5.
Oh,
So I am with them once a week, I mind them. And they are always at me, come on the trampoline, or let's play soccer, or let's run along to the park, or let's do this. And they don't think that I can't do it. I have to perform. But I also want to be a role model for them and show them that if being active is great for our health and well-being, and it's a lifelong thing. And yeah, I'm sure that the younger listeners here would want to be like that when they're older. You don't want to be, you want to be able to be independent. You want to be able to do the things that you want to do. And if your body won't allow you to, then, that's disappointing. So, if you start now, you've got at least 20 years on what I did to get to living that life that you want to live.
that is so fantastic. And yeah, and I love you sharing your story because, we can find ourselves in each other when we share our stories. And, you mentioned that, you have the little ones, and you're able to like keep up with them on the trampoline. Well, my little one, he's going to be 5 very soon, but at 3, he was climbing mountains that were like black trails. And he's like, you can climb this. And he just was like, you can do it. And I was like, yeah, I can do it. I can carry that big log back home, like the little
Yeah.
things, right? But it's like they don't see you as like not being able to do it. They're like, come
Mm.
on, let's play. Let's get in there. So I'm like, okay, here we go, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. But there's other practical things as well. Like I love to travel. My husband and I, although COVID sort of put paid to that over the last couple of years, but when you travel, you want to be able to go and explore and have the physical ability to be able to walk a lot and to climb and to carry your travel bag with you. So, there are practical reasons why we need to keep our bodies strong and healthy.
Yes, so true. So, that's going back to just who you are and how you serve your communities. Out of all the things you do, where do you find that you find the most joy when you're helping your clients?
Well, at the moment, you mentioned that, like this is something that I did at 63. I became a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor. And I just have a little quick side story for that because I'd always wanted to do it. I had a fabulous PT and I wanted to, follow in her steps. I had been a ballet teacher back in my youth and I'd sort of gone away from that. But I've always loved the teaching. And the point I'm trying to make is at 57, I decided that I wanted to do personal training. And when I applied, they suggested that perhaps I was a bit too old. Now, I actually accepted that reason, which I should not have done. And so when I'm in my 60s, I'm a little bit more forthright, I'm a little bit wiser, I'm a little bit more confident. I wouldn't take no. So I said, no, I'm going to do this. And that's what I did. But that's what I love. I love working with women and helping them stay active. And a lot of them are over 50 and 60s and 70s. I love doing that. But I also love encouraging people just to do what they, follow their dreams, set their goals, do what they want to do, and to live life their way. Because if we're living life as a lie, then we are never, and we're not true to ourselves, we're going to be unhappy, but we're also going to make those around us unhappy as well. And for me, I love it when someone says, oh, I've done this and I never thought I could do it, whatever it is. And so that's where I get joy, encouraging women to just open their minds and be open to what they can achieve. Now, we can't always do things, like I'm not going to go bungee jumping. I
Me
just will
neither.
not do
No,
that.
thank you. Not
But,
no.
you know, but there are things that we can do. And I just think that we need to think about, I love it when people let go of their past limiting beliefs. They let go of the past and they really go for it. And I love to encourage that.
That's so fantastic, and I, like you, I am not a fan of the rubber band. That just doesn't seem like my thing, even though I can
Yeah,
swim. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think that you've shared a lot about just how we can have this fit, fabulous life. This happier, healthier life over 50. But I also think, like you said, it's not just for our 50s and aboves. It starts now, right? It's about being proactive versus reactive. So can you
Mm.
speak a little bit more about just the importance of starting where you are, no matter where you are.
Oh, yes. Okay. That is an important point. And I'd just written down something that I thought of, and that's the word comparison. And I think what you have to do is not compare yourself to anybody else. I know it's hard. We see it on social media and we think, oh, gee, look at her or look at what they're doing or whatever. You are writing your own story. And your story is unique. You are unique. There's no one else like you on this planet. And so you have to be true to yourself and stop that comparison. I think that's the most important thing that you can do. And whatever you're doing, just do it for yourself and be aware that you will get your supporters. Surround yourself with the cheerleaders, but you will get your detractors as well. And they'll be saying to you, why do you think you can do that? Why are you wanting to do that? I started a podcast in my 60s, and whilst I had a lot of people going, wow, that's great, I had a few people say, well, why are you doing that? And it started to eat away at my confidence. So I think that, you've got to remember that it's your journey, it's your story that you're writing, and whatever little thing you can do today to start is important. So write down where you want to be in a year, where you want to be in 5 years, what's important to you, what's important to you today. And that may change as you go along. Your goals or your intentions or your dreams may change, but it's a matter of starting with just whatever it is today, just one little step. Again, back to you with your push-up. One push-up, how long did that take you? A second. Yep. And you've done something. So I think it's important to take the time to, and this is a good time of year to do it, but to take the time to reflect where you've been, where you are now, and where you want to be. And to not make it too difficult for yourself, because you've got, get those little goals. Just start with little things that will build that self-confidence in you, and then take it little step by little step, and each day just a little thing. It doesn't have to be much. And I think the important thing is to write it down. This is what I did today. And some days we won't, because life will get in the way, or we're, just not in the right mindset. I mean, we can't be super strong all the time. But I think that's the other thing is, don't compare yourself, write your own story, but also don't beat yourself up if you get off track.
That's a huge one. I know, especially for me, I mean, just learning how to just not be so hard on myself, and just like, it's okay, just let that go, because that also feeds into the constrictedness, and then that causes disease, right? Like, it's all interrelated, right? Just how we think about things, I think what you're talking about is so good. What are we going to say?
Yeah. I was just going to say that I think it's important, and this is something, all these things I've learned after I'm 50. I mean, before then I was a different person, but I've learned and I've grown, and I keep on growing.
So as we kind of like just look at the big broad picture of everything that you've mentioned, if there was something that you wanted to make sure that, if you were looking back at your 40-year-old self, for example, what would you say to that person?
Well, I would say to set boundaries. I would say to believe in yourself, and to set those boundaries because if you're a giving person all the time, that's lovely. We want to give to others, but not at the detriment of ourselves. We have to be our own best friend. And I think that's what I was probably alluding to before, was that, think about how you speak to yourself now. Would you speak to a friend that way? Would you put your friend down that way? You wouldn't. You talk to yourself negatively, but you talk to everyone else and build them up. What I would say to my 40-year-old self is, you are enough. You are you, and you live your true life, and don't worry about what other people think, because that is the one thing that many of us live with. We worry so much about what everyone else thinks, and we then, we just go within ourselves, and we don't ever achieve what we want to. We're not happy because we're too busy walking on eggshells because someone might not agree with what we want to do.
And then what would you say to your 50-year-old self?
Keep going, keep going, keep learning, keep doing things, because you are never too old. 50 is wonderful. Wait till you get to 60. It's fabulous.
And then for anyone who's out there who's listening, and maybe they're like in that post-menopause and they're like in their 70s, 80s, what would you say to them?
Well, I would just say, for a start, feel great that you do have this life, and that, you've achieved so much. Reflect back on all you've achieved in life, but remember that, we can still keep going. We can, in some way, we can still be learning, we can still make life rich and enrich our lives, no matter what age we are, because there's always something for us in each decade. And also, I think for those women, myself and older, we need to give back. We need to be sharing what we've learnt from life with those who are coming after us, because hopefully that will make it easier for them.
Yes. And as we reach back a little bit farther, let's go to our, just in case someone popped in here and they're like, I'm just 20 years old. I'm just 30 years old. What would you say to those folks?
I would just say enjoy life. I would say you have a wonderful life ahead of you. And I would also say don't think that older women, older people are old. They do have a voice, they do have that wisdom that they can share with you. And just remember that we were your age once. And we probably feel the same way as what you do, but everything will evolve, and you just be true to yourself and to live your life being true to who you are.
Such great messages. Thank you for just kind of, taking that. We didn't plan that or anything, but I just felt called to ask you those questions because I'm just very curious, and I think everyone at all stages, we can all use a little bit of mindset shift and having people pour into us. And, we can all kind of help each other if we just take the time to listen and share stories, right?
Yes, and I think important for whatever age, wherever you are, if you're young or if you're older, we just have to keep an open mind. We always have to be open, because I've learnt that life isn't black and white. I used to be a very black and white person, and and it isn't that way in life. So you need to adapt, and you need to just have an open mind with everything, and that I think will be a lot more relaxing than being rigid in your thinking, and that just stunts your growth as a person. So I would like to learn from younger people. I learn from younger people all the time, but I'd also like to think that younger people will learn from those who have gone before them and had that life experience.
So it sounds like what you're saying is like we need to kind of start giving each other a little bit of a chance, no matter what age we're coming from, because young, old, young, some, I know some young folks who are just very old in the way that they think, right? So it's just really a number thing, right? It's just
Oh,
the same
yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, it is. As I said, I don't really think about age. I don't talk, I've mentioned age a couple of times, few times today, but generally my mind is not thinking, oh, I'm this age, so I should be behaving this way. I'm just thinking, well, what makes me happy or what brings me joy? And also letting go of what doesn't bring you joy, because you can waste a hell of a lot of your life holding on to things that make you unhappy, whether it's because of guilt, or you feel that you should, or responsibility or whatever. But if it isn't bringing you joy, then you have to learn to let that go.
Beautiful.
And
And
sometimes that's people as well. if
sometimes
they're
that's
not if
people.
they're not building you up, if they're not being there for you. Yeah, yeah.
I feel that. Yeah. I mean, relationships, environment, if you're not happy in the city where you are because it's maybe too smoggy, if you can take a step out and find a new place where you can have clean air and you can look up, I mean, that's what I did. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So where can people connect with you and just stay connected to who you are and your vision, and maybe take some classes and just have fun with you?
Well, you can find details on my website, Women Living Well After 50, and I'm on the social medias. Instagram is one that I use a fair bit, and of course, Facebook. And so that's probably the best way. But I'm always open to hearing from people, just to hear their experiences and to chat to them. And I just find that I my calling is to help others to develop who they are. And if that's just to have a chat with them, it might do something to help them And I hope today what we've talked about will inspire the listeners to, really think about what they want and making the best of their life.
So that they can have a fit, fabulous, happier, healthier life, right? Even well over
Exactly.
50.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to Sue Loncaric. I really appreciate you. I'm sure that I found some nuggets, so I'm sure hopefully one person, will be perked up and they heard something and they're just a little bit inspired to move through the decades and, live a happier, healthier life, right? So thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. And thank you for inviting me to come and share my story with you.
My pleasure. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.